Hello and welcome to our Learning Strategies lesson about the learning process. My name is Dr. Valerie Mann and I'm the Chair of College Success at Johnson County Community College. I'm here today to talk to you about the reasons that learning is so complex. One of the things that you need to think about when you are embarking upon an academic journey, whether it's a class or a certificate or a degree or an advanced series of learning, is that you bring many things with you to the college environment. The first thing you bring are your experiences. What do you know already about the subject that you're learning? How do you engage that with what you're learning in your classes? You also bring your background knowledge from the classes that you've taken, from the books that you've read, from the videos that you've watched, from the activities that you've done in other courses. Another thing that does affect your ability to learn is your motivation. Now, by itself, motivation is just a temporary release of some hormones that doesn't last very long. So how do you sustain your motivation for days, weeks, months, or even years? How do you get up every day and go to class even after you've worked all day, or you're having problems with your kid, or you have other obligations on your time? Finding that motivation and making the space in your life is an important part of that learning process for college students. Also, the content. What is the area that you've chosen to study? How do you study for that particular type of a course? Do you take notes from your book? Do you create study cards? Do you need to go to open labs and practice with the materials hands-on? There are different ways to engage with that particular content, and that's another important part of that learning process. You also need to plan for enough time to learn. Learning is not quick. It does take a lot of time to actually learn something well. It's just like if you want to build muscles. If you want to build muscles, it's going to take days, weeks, even months. And it's the same for the learning in the classes that you'll take in the college environment. Another thing to think about as part of that learning process in college is the assessment. How will you be expected to show what you know? Will you need to answer multiple choice questions on an exam? Will you need to write about it in sentences and paragraphs, or a short answer or an essay? Will you be expected to show that in some sort of a demonstration type of a way? Will you need to perform a lab? Will you need to do some sort of a simulation? All those are parts of that learning process, from the beginning all the way to that end, to the assessment, that you need to think about. As you're planning your learning process, it's important to think about what kinds of things can help our learning process and what kinds of behaviors can hinder our learning process. The first barrier for many students tend to be ineffective study behaviors. Passive study behaviors tend to be what most people come to college with. They read their book over and over. They maybe make some study cards when they're studying really hard, and they tend to hit that material really hard a day or two before that exam. Well, there are reasons that can catch you up in college and cause problems. First of all, active learning processes are key in college. The strategy of writing down what you hear in lecture, the strategy of answering questions or speaking out loud about what you're learning, recoding what you're learning by putting it into your own words or drawing it out on a sheet of paper can really help you study more efficiently and more effectively. Another thing that can cause students problems are distractions and multitasking. It can be really hard in our contemporary world to really check out, but that tends to be really necessary when it comes to college classes. Being able to put your phone on airplane mode, finding a quiet study spot where you can have the privacy to think and to learn is really important. And it's really important also to get into some sort of a study routine and stick with it, and you'll find that it'll get easier each time you sit down to study. There are many misconceptions too that can hurt our learning processes. Remember, I said learning isn't fast, it's a slow process. And knowing that if you use strategies, you can learn more effectively and more efficiently. Regular review once a week, every couple of days, actually can save you a lot of time relearning things that you've forgotten. One of the things we need to think about also is our metacognitive processes. The idea of metacognition is thinking about our own thinking, noticing when we are not understanding, noticing when we are not able to pay attention well, noticing when we are confused. Those are all really important concepts for college students. I always tell my classes, never ever accept confusion. You can solve that. You can fix it. Don't let it go. Write down that question, whatever that problem might be, so that you can come back to it when the moment is there. So thinking about how you think and learn and then using that information to help you study more efficiently can really help you. One of the things that also gets in our way of our learning process is what's called the illusion of understanding. That's the feeling that you got it and you looked at it and now you know it. Well, if you've ever tried to give someone directions and then you realize you don't know any street names or any of the landmarks or how far between each turn, you had that illusion of understanding. You could drive that path, no problem. But did you really know it really well? Could you explain it to someone else? Maybe not. And that's a good self-test. So, some things to help you combat that illusion of understanding. Can you explain something in your own words? Maybe after class you're writing some sentences about what you learned that day. Maybe you're talking to your instructor and asking questions. Maybe you're teaching it to someone else in your class in a study group. Maybe you're drawing out the steps, answering quiz questions from your textbook or ones that you write yourself. Or you're even writing a summary on a card to help you keep track of those important ideas and concepts. There are a variety of things that help our learning process. Strategies, ways to arrange our study behaviors can help with that. Active learning activities where we do more than just drive that path, where we actually take notes from our book, take notes in class, draw things out, have conversations, that can really help. Spaced practice is that idea of touching that material often, maybe 5 days a week for half an hour. That would be a lot better than all Sunday afternoon. So spacing out your practice will help you, and also being aware of your metacognition. Checking your understanding on a regular basis can really help. If you notice that you're confused before the exam, you've got plenty of time to fix it. But during the exam, it tends to be too late. So being aware of those things can really help your learning process.